Oh, this episode was filmed just over 1 week before Ethan ended up taking his life. He shared so real and raw and open about everything from the pain of loss of family to the beautiful things he was doing in this world of helping other people find their purpose. I'm still in shock. I'm still numb over this. I think human nature is to question, what could I have done differently? How could I have helped? I've watched the raw footage quite a few times to find out, was there something there? What I don't share with a lot of people is after college, I struggled. I almost ended my life, and it was one of the most painful times of my life. I carried that pain alone, and I felt incredibly ashamed because I didn't think anybody would understand. And the best thing I did was actually start to share, because when I shared the pain, it helped remove part of the shame and the guilt. And I found out that others had made it through, and they found ways. I almost didn't want to share this episode just out of respect, but his family's reached out to me as friends saying, please share it. His message is too powerful. So this one goes into everything of his life, his mission, what he was looking forward to. But if you or someone you love, because there's not always signs, but is questioning life or in pain, a lot of people don't know this. I've worked hundreds and hundreds of hours at crisis suicide centers working with young adults to help them through the pain they carry alone. I don't want to see another person lose their life because of the pain, because on the other side, there is something there. So this may be a difficult episode to watch. I encourage you, if you are struggling, please reach out. Please call somebody. People understand. There's zero judgment. Pain is not meant to be carried alone. And when we share it openly, it's amazing how many people come together, because life can be so much beautiful on the other side. Gosh, man, Ethan, I miss you, bro.
And if you'll share your name, where you're from, and then we'll just kind of go from there and see where this goes.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. My name's Ethan Citron. I'm a sobriety coach from Orange County, California. Going on 9 years sober. It's been almost 9 years exactly since I moved out here from New Jersey to get sober.
All right.
And here I am.
So Jersey, 9 years ago, you said, I had to get sober, and you came out to California.
Yeah.
Okay. What led you out here?
Well, it's a crazy story. I had a friend that I went to high school with. I ran into. He came back for a meeting in New Jersey. I was attempting to get sober. And I ran into him at a meeting, and he had a treatment center in Newport Beach. And not too long after meeting up with him, I ended up out here. I made the decision to come out. That it was time. It was time to end the madness, and I was just so unhappy and broken, man. And I made the move.
Had you known for a while you wanted to change? Was it just divine intervention of seeing him kind of like, yeah, life's kind of getting a little difficult?
I mean, that's a great question. Things were bad for so long, and I was kind of just holding on to my drinking and didn't want to give it up, but I knew that it had to come to an end because it was just, I couldn't beat it. There was no happiness.
Yeah, we see that for a lot of people. It's like this prolonged misery, and I'm always curious at each person's story of how they wrestle with that. Well, I guess I'll just speak for myself. The lie I told myself of why I was okay being miserable in my own journey, until finally it's like the pain gets so difficult. And why I love having this platform is to share with people. It's like you don't have to go years, for some people decades, in misery. As soon as you start recognizing that, my goal is to help remove the stigma, the guilt, and the shame, to say, here's where I'm struggling. I'm a human being. And so why do you think, well, I guess you could speak for you, but why do you think it takes so long to finally say, okay, there's got to be something else?
Addiction's it's powerful, cunning, baffling. Like it pulled me in, and for a long time it was denial. Is why I stayed in. Like, you know, I didn't have to drink during the week, and it would just be the weekends. And I'm working out, I'm playing soccer, like I'm doing some healthy things, but I was functional.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy, and it was overtaking my life. Like even the days I wasn't drinking, I was thinking about drinking. Like, well, on the weekend I'll be here. It controlled me even when I wasn't in my system.
Yeah.
And it just took me down a long path of denial and not wanting to give it up. But then you get to the point where it's so bad and so painful that I had this moment where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to end this cycle, because I don't want to live like this anymore. The quality of life was that bad where I functional or not, it wasn't good. Yeah.
So you bump into a buddy. He has a center out here, and so just on trust, you flew out. How did that happen?
No, man, it's so wild. I was staying in one of my best friend's house, Alex, and you know I was about to go through a divorce, so I was in a bad spot, right? And I did something that I never did before. You know, I was raised Catholic. I went to church and all that stuff, but I lost my connection with God, and I wasn't going anymore. But I had this one moment that I'll never forget. I was in a spare bedroom. I was about to go to bed, and I just dropped to my knees and begged Jesus. I begged God to help me. And I'm on my knees. I'm bawling, crying. Like I'm talking out loud and praying out loud. And I was in a treatment center a week later. I didn't even have insurance. Like he ended up scholarshiping me.
Yeah.
And I'm out there, and like that was a very pivotal moment in my life, especially on my spiritual journey. But I was out here, and then, you know, my prayer was answered, and then everything started from there.
Isn't it crazy? I just think it's human nature. I used to think it was just me. Not the first step or anywhere in between. It's like the final Hail Mary is like, oh, hey, by the way, God, can I get some help?
And he was listening. You know, he was listening the whole time.
Yeah, the whole
but
time.
I was never asking. And I think when I did that and I really surrendered, because I surrendered at that moment.
Yeah.
I fully surrendered at that moment. Like, I can't do this. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'll follow your path. My way doesn't work.
I remember hearing that so often. And they say words are one thing, but a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I remember, because I grew up in a Christian family. And I remember I'm overseas going to school. I go over to Italy for spring break, and I go see the Sistine Chapel. And Michelangelo paints this picture. I know there's a name for it, but like I remember weeping when I saw it, because it's Adam like halfway extended, and God is fully reached out. And for the first time I saw that, I'm like, why is that how we live? Our Creator is fully reached out, like I'm here, and we're kind of like, we'll see.
Yeah.
And just that kind of, it brought everything into focus for me. So hearing you say that I kind of get that visual picture until finally, like, okay, I'm reaching back out. And then that's where we meet. And a week later, prayers answered, you're on the West Coast, and you're now getting treatment for the disease.
Yep. And like I said, I know he was waiting for that moment. I don't think it would have happened if I didn't do that, to be honest. Yeah. And when I reached out and that went down, like I said, I'm out here right down the street from where we're at right now. This is my old backyard, so it's so cool being here. And it was such a relief when I got here, because like I said, I fully surrendered. I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. It's none of my ways have ever worked. And just kind of leaning into that, in that full surrender to God, like, and just say, show me the way. It took so much pressure, so much stress and anxiety out of my life. And it was able to let me focus on what needed to be done. And just, I started listening.
Yeah.
I started listening to the people in the treatment centers and the people in the rooms, and taking direction for the first time in my life. And wow, you know how easy that was compared to what I was doing. Yeah.
So you say, I finally let it go. What was it for you?
The control.
The perception of control.
Yeah, and the denial.
Yeah.
Like those, letting go of those things, that's when the magic started. Like, because that was sabotaging everything. Like if I'm trying to I'll do it this way, I'll do that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It won't work.
Try manipulating an entity. I promise if I do this, I'll pray. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you come out here, you start changing your perception. You say you let go of everything, full submission, surrender, and then what started to happen?
Well, the miracle, I think the biggest thing, and this is what I do with helping people. I started to get comfortable in my own skin for the first time. I started drinking at 13. I had severe anxiety as a kid, and I remember the first time I drank, and there was a beer out of the keg at my cousin's graduation party, and I had that beer and I drank it, and I felt that anxiety melt down my back, and it felt good. And I was like, oh, okay, I can breathe. My eyes got all big and this and that. And being able to figure that out, coming out here and as an adult, getting comfortable in my own skin for it's the first time, right?
Yeah.
It felt good. It was a relief, right? And I was able to, and it took time. It did take time. But as that started to happen and I was getting comfortable in my own skin, I was able to start focusing on other things and learning about myself and ultimately then finding my purpose.
So you say getting comfortable in your own skin, and that's where we see so many people struggle, because purpose meaning you can attach all different descriptions. What were some of the things that you did to get there? Because I know that's where so many people suffer in silence, thinking, I'm not worthy, nobody understands,
Yeah.
and they don't know what to do. They're like, if you could just tell me what to do, I swear I would do it.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So I started to forgive myself. There was a lot of resentments I had towards myself. Mm-hmm. I had to let go of resentments to other people and loved ones.
So I like the order that you just put that in. I had to forgive myself.
Had to be first.
And then I had to forgive others. One of the biggest struggles I see is I've seen people forgive other people that do unforgivable acts. Like, no, I can forgive you, but they can't forgive themselves.
Yeah. So
what were some of the things that you recognized or realized that you were able to, again, let go and actually forgive that part of you?
So I forgave myself for, not making it to college playing soccer. That bothered me. Alcohol took that from me. I had a lot of good things going for me, right? And soccer was my first love. I loved the sport. I loved being out there with the guys, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And that bothered me, up until I got out here, So I forgave myself for that, and then, because of my drinking, I wasn't the most present father, and I had to forgive myself for that, which was really hard. Doing that, and then for everything that I did, I was always a good person. I was always a good guy. I'd show up if you needed me, but I just didn't love myself, and I loved the people around me and wanted to help other people. I had to learn to love myself. That's something I still struggle with that I have to work on. These are things that you have to work on throughout your whole life, right? It doesn't just go away.
Well, I think it's called being a human being. I remember that the first time, so I battled depression out of college to the point where I still remember I walked out one day with the intent to take my life because I couldn't see hope or any value on the other side. And so going down this journey, trying to figure out, I feel like Zoolander, who am I, right? But it's as I started to ask these questions, I started uncovering different people's work, and there's this narrative that it doesn't matter if it's Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, pre-BC, post-AD, the two primary fears every human being struggles with is, what if people find out that I'm not lovable? And what if people find out that I'm not worthy or good enough?
Yep.
And it's like an innate quality conditioned into our DNA because it's a survival tactic, which thanks, great-great-great-great-grandma and grandpa, but at the same time, it's how do we deal with that emotionally? So I don't know if that ever goes away. I've been fortunate enough to interview a ton of people, and almost everybody's like, well, there's still parts. I'm like, yeah, isn't that fascinating? So you say you're still working on that. Do you think that's something that you ever achieve and get to the outcome or the goal line? You're like, cool, I did it? Or is it just this never-ending evolution of continual self-love?
I'm not sure. Maybe I do get to a point where I'm like, okay, I figured this out. but there's a good chance I
Let
don't.
me know
right?
when you do,
Yeah,
because
there's a good chance I don't, you know. But the cool part about it is I have the opportunity to just keep working myself because I'm mindful of it.
So awareness.
Awareness is huge. You have to be mindful and aware of what's going on. Like and I do private coaching. I coach people and help them with their sobriety, right? And I always tell my guys, I'm like, we're never done growing, right? We could grow to the last day that we live on this earth if we choose to, but we can also choose to stop trying and not wanting to grow and not, attempting to do those things. And my idea is like, I want to continue to grow. I want to find the best version of me, because it's not there yet, right? There's always work to be done. So I enjoy like learning more about me and figuring things out and doing all these cool things that sobriety brought me, because I would have never did any of those things during my active addiction. It wasn't growing. My growth was stunted, right?
Yeah.
So it's a cool opportunity that we have, and being mindful, like you said, of those things it's a blessing.
So what are some of the things that you find yourself doing now to get to know these newer, evolved versions of you?
So I'm just always researching and seeing what's out there, talking to people, what they do, looking at all the newest things out there. Like I had a client that I was working with. I do sober coaching, and he wanted to do hot yoga. And I'm like, and I'm all into working out, dude. Like I that's all I do, right? I feel like that's all I do.
Yeah, but yoga pants on males is where I draw the line.
No yoga pants. I got my shorts. That's good, right? And so I go to do hot yoga, strength yoga. So you're doing dumbbells in a 100-degree room.
That sounds
and
miserable.
For an hour. And the first time was, for sure. And I was already in shape going in, and I went in, and I'm like, I was face down on the mat when I was done. And very humbled, right? And I was like, but I liked it because I like to be pushed. I like to be out of my comfort zone. And it's something that I do regularly now. And I found rooms that go up to 116 degrees. I push to the limits, right?
What a beautiful metaphor, though, of I'm in great shape. I'm going to go in and crush this. Then the humility takes over of, wow, I suck at basically everything I'm new at, even though the ego goes, no, we're going to crush it. Yeah. And then you start to get better and better and look at mastery for that until your next, quote unquote, hot yoga presents itself.
Yep. And it's so cool because like I just push myself more and more and more, and I'm at a point where I'm doing it at a very, very, very high level, and I'm modifying my things to make it even harder while I'm in the class, and that's really cool. Like I enjoy that, and then my thoughts are, what else is out there that I never knew about or don't know about that I could end up loving and be beneficial to my health, and I can draw other people to and show them. So I'm always looking for new things.
Can I push a little bit? Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay, a question came up of how many times do you do what's next as opposed to I accept all of this? Does that make sense? From a place of we can call it love or forgiveness, but it's like how many more looking what's next versus I'm totally content here right now. It's a dichotomy, right?
Right. Yeah, and you know what? I don't know. Maybe I get to a limit where like I'm good with everything that I got. You know, my ears and eyes are always open because maybe there's something that's good for somebody else that I can find, right? But it's just cool to explore and see what's out there. And I think living in Southern California, where we have all these different modalities, and like we're in the fitness capital of the world, and it's just we have everything here. So the biohacking, the peptides, the stem cell, like I'm always doing these things and reading about them, researching them, and it's become like a hobby of mine. You know, I am in better shape and feel better physically than I came out here 9 years ago. It's awesome. Crazy. It's almost like I've been turning the clock back because all these cool things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the physical health, my mental health. Like these things help tremendously with that. You know, doing these things these are different forms of therapy for me.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to finally see the crossover with all these different physical attributes we can do, but actually it helps regulate brain chemistry as well. And it's beautiful seeing these studies. So you got sober, you continued to push yourself, always growing. And then at some point you found paying it forward and helping other people in sobriety coaching.
For sure.
What was that transition like?
So it was just me finding my purpose. And that started, I started helping out at the treatment center that I was at, just like figuring out, what am I going to do? I'm not going back to New Jersey. I made that decision. I love California, always have. So I just started helping out, just seeing what was going on. And it happened pretty quickly. Like, I didn't know what fentanyl was. I've never seen it. I was never around that. I was a drinker, and socializing, drinking, and all that stuff. So seeing these guys in the treatment center, and I'm kind of just mentoring the guys, taking them to the gym, working out. And one day, one of them's here, and the next day I'm like, "Where's so and so?" And he got his wings. He's not here anymore. I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, fentanyl." And I'm like, "Man," I'm like, "No." And I have young kids, and this is scaring me. And I'm like, it crushed me.
Yeah.
It was happening often. So I just kind of was like, you know what? I want to do this. I like helping people. And one thing to led to another, and I'm helping out, with these guys, and they're saying, "Hey, you really helped me with my recovery. Thank you for everything you did." I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. And it felt good. And I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. And then I started learning all the ins and outs of the business, from doing operations to business development, and then ultimately got into coaching, working one-on-one, which, I fell in love with doing that. Implementing all the things that worked for me, and meeting each guy where they're at and customizing their journey, and getting them to where they need to be and showing them hands-on, because sometimes it's not so easy.
Yeah.
You need, you have somebody help you. This is what I do. And being with them and guiding them one day at a time and being there with them and accountability. And I started to see it working.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I put together a really amazing program out here. I would go stay with certain people at their homes. I work with high-end public figures and CEOs and business owners. Mm-hmm. I go stay with them at their houses and do this and put together a program where they're at, because they don't want to leave. But then I also had this other program, kind of a failure to launch program, where I was working with 20 to 30-year-old men that got kind of stunted their growth in addiction and all that stuff, and started helping them with life skills and working out and getting where they need to be. And my last 3 guys, they're doing great. I love having them back to their families, and they're back, and everybody's happy, and they're thriving. So I fell in love with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the difference with you two, from what I've seen, is you lead from where you live. Mm-hmm. I know that there's a lot of people in this world that will say one thing and not fully live and take on a lifestyle. And I've found it's so much more when a person is fully in alignment with every part of life, that they're now saying, here is what was taught to me, here's what I go on and teach. And it's not do as I say, it's do as I do.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
So over the last 9 years you've been sober coaching, what are some of the things that get you excited now?
So one of the things that I learned in sobriety, coming out here, I was like, well, I'm going to get sober, quit drinking, that life's going to be perfect almost. Like, what could go wrong, right? And the truth is that life still happens, sober or not. Mm-hmm. It does. And, I had a really hard 12-month stretch in my sobriety, the hardest I could ever imagine, right? That I wouldn't have been able to handle if I wasn't sober. And, what happened was, in 2021, I was finishing up my first coaching job, and I got a call in June that my dad passed away. He unexpectedly, he had a bad reaction to the COVID shot, and he went to sleep and didn't wake up. Oh, wow. And that was tough, Luckily, I was in a position I was able to fly out and be there and support and bring my kids out and to his services. And, that happened. It's life happens. You lose your parents at some point, right?
Yeah. Were you close with your dad growing up?
No, that was another difficult part. He was there physically in the home, but not emotionally. And that was contributed to some of my anxiety and my drinking. And, I'm actually working on that now in therapy and figuring those things out still right now, right?
Yeah.
But I loved him. He did the best that he could do, mm-hmm. right? And
it takes maturity to realize that.
And forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. That's a key theme.
Yeah, so that happened in June. And I came back from my job. I was out in Nebraska, and I came home, and got a new apartment in Irvine. I started doing really well with my career. And I was at a recovery event at the end of October, going into November, with my really good friend Matt. And I brought him out with me, and he'd come down and stay for the weekends. We'd work out and do recovery stuff. And he went back to Hollywood on that Monday after that weekend that he was staying with me. And because of what he does for a living, and he gets tested every day regardless for COVID, because it's during COVID in 2021. And he called me up on Monday. He's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I tested positive. So if you want to go get tested, go ahead." So I had no symptoms or anything like that. So I just went and got tested because he told me, right? Mm-hmm. And I came back positive. And I went to my doctor, and he gave me a bunch of shots and all the pills, and he was a conservative doctor. And I was like, all right. He's like, go home. You're probably not going to feel well. You might not feel well for a little bit, but you're going to be fine. You caught this super early. So I go home, and about 7 days of being home, I was like, my head's throbbing. I'm not eating. I was like, I think I might be dying. And so I went to Hoag, and I went in, and they took my oxygen levels. I'm in like the 70s. They're like, you're going to have brain damage if you don't come in right now. So they put me in ICU.
Oh my God.
What happened is I had asthma as a kid, and I had an underlying issue, but I was in such good shape. Yeah. I wasn't even fazed by when they told me that I had it. I was like, dude, this is nothing. This isn't going to do anything to me. I'm strong. Like, I'm super strong. So I go into Hoag, and like they have me hooked on every machine. I'm on the high flow oxygen, one step under the respirator. I can't breathe on my own.
Oh my God.
And so I have COVID pneumonia. My pulmonary doctor keeps coming in. He's like, they took the x-rays of my lungs. They're like, your lungs are shredded. And I'm bugging out because, a week before that, I'm running 10 miles in Back Bay on a black coffee with no problem. And now I can't even sit up on my own. So that was super scary for me. I knew it was serious.
And you said you lost your dad because of COVID, right?
Yeah. Like the June before. And so my doctor keeps coming in, the pulmonary doctor, and I'm bugging out. I'm saying, am I going to be able to work out again? Am I going to be able to run? Like, I don't know, 6 months, a year, maybe never. Your lungs are shredded. I think it was after the third day of him coming in and using those words, saying your lungs are shredded. I said, don't come in my room and ever use those words again. I was like, I'm going to be running Back Bay in 3 months. I got into this mindset where, like, I know how powerful the mind is, and I was like, don't come in here and ever say that again. I'll be running Back Bay. And he looked at me like I was crazy. So what I did was, because I was in there for 9 days, and I'm on my phone searching every holistic thing that I can do to get to where I need to be, because I'm scared out of my mind. I end up leaving after 9 days in the hospital. They take me out in a wheelchair. They have oxygen tanks waiting for me at the house. That's how bad it is. One for the house that I'm on at all times, and then a stack of portable ones if I do decide to leave. I get home, and it was the first time I could look in the mirror, because there wasn't one. I couldn't get out of my bed when I was in the hospital. And I remember the first thing I wanted to do was shower. And I walk in, I'm so weak. I'm down from 190 pounds to 162 pounds.
Wow. Over 9 days?
Yeah. And I remember taking my shirt off and looking in the mirror, and I looked at my body, and I looked at my eyes were like black. And that's when I realized how close I was to dying, like inches. And I just kind of broke down. I'm like, oh my God. And, I started the process immediately. I went and did stem cell IV drip bag. I was doing NAD infusions, glutathione inhalant through my nebulizer. I was going to a place down the street that's like, they're called these salt caves, that you sit in this room and they blow out Himalayan sea salt out of the vents, and I'm breathing it in. Like, I'm doing everything that I can do, because I believe that if I sat home and believed the doctor and was eating ice cream and watching Netflix, that I probably would have never worked out again.
Well, and that's a question I have, is because the mind does crazy things, and it sounds like, were you able to navigate between, I am certain I will do everything that I can, versus the fear of, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of dying?
Well, I was just fully focused on doing everything that I could and seeing what happened. The thing about the recovery with COVID pneumonia, it was so slow. You know, there was no change each day. Like, you know, if you have pneumonia or bronchitis, you wake up one morning, you're like, oh, I'm turning a corner. Like, you feel it. You're on antibiotics and stuff. That didn't happen with this. It was so slow. Like, there was no progress. And, like, so I didn't know if I was going to actually get better. So I was just going crazy with all the things that I could do, all the different modalities with the peptides. And
How much do you think of it was mental, though? Of you,
I think a big portion of it was mental. I believe in that. I believe that you can heal yourself, and if you have the mindset, that it does help for sure.
well, you're living proof of that, of what you did. I was very fortunate. Like, talk about getting lucky. In 2000, I met a dude, Dr. Patch Adams. And Robin Williams did the movie
Yeah, of
where
course.
it got him famous, but he created this place called the Gesundheit Foundation. And his whole thing was laughter and love are so powerful emotional states. It actually changes brain chemistry. It changes the immune system in the body. And so what he got famous for was people with cancer in the final stage. And basically doctors saying, look, you've got weeks left, so get your affairs in order. He would actually, like, literally write prescriptions for, you need to laugh, belly laugh 20 times a day. They'd bring in comedies, love, and he actually took me and this group of students through this exercise of love, and it was the most awkward thing at first I'd ever done because you're so insecure, and then you're going through it, but he was the first one that showed and actually has scientific documentation that I was aware of, that I crossed paths with, that said, our mindset is one of the most powerful pharmaceutical agencies in the world.
For sure.
And so the part that I've struggled with in the past is when it really gets serious, it's so hard, at least I've found, so hard to stay positive with the mindset because it's the humanistic side of, I'm afraid what happens. And so that's why I'm intrigued of how you were able to keep going, no, we're going this way.
Yep. I felt it was crucial. I did, and I knew that. And, you know, like I said, I did all those things. And I couldn't even walk without up 2 stairs without this oxygen tank, and I would still be gassed. It was super scary. I mean, humbling, like you wouldn't believe. Like, I am not as strong as I think I am. That was obvious after my health was taken away from me like that. So it was another learning experience for me. Like, I'm not that powerful. Like, I need to look at things a little bit different about life. Life is precious, and like anything can happen, right? So it does change mindset. Like, I always want to learn from all these things that happen, the adversity in life, right? You can always take negatives and turn them into positives. And this was one of them where I'm like, man, I now, and especially right after it happened, just being able to walk through my car and smell the air and be outside walking into here today, I'm like, I'm grateful. Like, the little things in life are the big things, because when I was laying in that bed and not being able to function, I didn't think about my money. I didn't think about anything material. I thought about my health, my family, you know, God. Like, those are the things that matter. So it changes you, right? Like, just like sobriety changed me. I'm like, it made me a better man. It made me do things different. And nearly dying, that changed me again too. Like, you can't forget about these things.
And so you stayed sober through your father passing. You stayed sober through your, coming, it sounded like, inches with death.
For sure.
How were you able to navigate that?
It was honestly easy, because I knew if I drank, it was over. I was so weak, and then I wouldn't take care of myself. I wouldn't do all the things that I needed to do, so it didn't even cross my mind.
That's powerful.
It just wasn't an option. So it was actually easy in that situation. But I also think that being easy also is because of the foundation that I built and how hard I worked before that to get to where I was and build that solid foundation, that it was almost unbreakable.
That's the part I think so many people miss. Again, going back to just human nature. I remember this was years ago. We were down in San Diego, and we were staying, and they were building a high-rise. And being from Orange County, you know, we don't see high-rises built. And I remember looking down, and they were doing the foundation, and it must have been, I don't know, like 6 stories down. I mean, like, you look over, and it just kept going down and down.
And it was one of the first times, the aha moment. Like I always think in visuals. When I saw that, I'm thinking, the only reason why they can go so high up is because their foundation is so deep and so strong. Where imagine if they just had the same foundation of like a house, of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we just do a 4 foot concrete with some rebar. And that is a theme that continues to come up of how strong of a foundation are you building? Because human nature is, I want to do this now. Like, cheesy analogy, but I got into jujitsu probably 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a white belt. Like, I don't do it enough. I don't practice enough. And that part of the brain's like, I want to get to the next step. And it's kind of like, let's just learn the foundations. Let's just continue to drill again and again and again. And it's hard sitting in that patience to build the foundation. But on the other side, you look back like, I'm so grateful I did that.
Oh yeah, and then it's not easy.
No, it sucks sometimes.
Yeah, and like time, and then you have to use the word patience. You have to have patience. That was something I had to learn out here too, because I didn't know what that was, right? But ultimately, it saved my life. I mean, it saved my life twice, because it saved me from my addiction, and it saved me from this near-death experience. And the other crazy part about it was the things that I learned in the room, because it was such a slow recovery. I had to learn to take it not one day at a time, but 1 minute at a time, because I was bugging out in my head. Like, this is taking forever. Am I going to be okay? My quality of life is not good. And if it stays this way, I don't even want to be here anymore, because I don't want to be on a air tank for the rest of my life. At my age, especially with all the things that I love to do in fitness and health and wellness. So it was a crazy moment. But I got a lot out of it, and it was a slow recovery. But the cool part was, I did do all the things that I planned to do when I was in that room for 9 days. Like I said, all the therapies, and I started walking. And my friend came out, and he's pulling the oxygen tank, and I'm doing laps, and I'm like, I mean, if you looked at me, you could tell I almost died. You could see it in my eyes. Like I was weak. I was very weak, but I just started doing it, and got into the gym, and it was very hard, very slow, very, very slow pace. But I ended up going and getting my chest x-rays 3 months later after I was discharged. Mm-hmm. And I went to the pulmonary doctor that was in the hospital, to his private practice, for him to look at it. And I'll never forget, he walked into the room, and he pulls up my chart, and he looks at it. And he looks at me, and I pull my mask down, and I smile at him. And I'm like, I ran back bay yesterday. And he was like, you're a walking miracle. Mm-hmm. And that was from the work that I put in the faith, the belief, right, that I could do it. I wasn't running at 7 minutes a mile, but I ran it, right? I did it.
The part that I love you just shared, because there's an equation most people miss. Biblically speaking, it's faith without works is dead. So some people are like, I had the faith, there's the mental part of it and the spiritual part, but there's also the physical part. And I see people miss one or the other, and you were able to see the two and combine them. And because of it, you actually had a licensed clinician say, what happened to you is a miracle.
Yeah, I would never expect him to say that the way he was talking before.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for setting that boundary, because I've heard that so many times where a doctor or a therapist or someone with authority will come in and say something. And so we give 100% trust and authority over and go, well, then it must be this way. And then life completely changes versus, no, I will not accept this. I will do everything in my power while still doing everything within faith. And it doesn't always work out, but a lot of times it does.
Yeah, for sure.
That's impressive. So you start working out of the back bay. You start getting your strength back.
Getting my strength back. I'm doing better. Life's getting better now. I'm healing. So, I mean, obviously that's great. And then in May, I get a call from my oldest daughter. I have 3 children back in New Jersey, and she's like, Chase came home drunk, my son, and she was on speakerphone, and he's crying, and I can hear him throwing up, and I'm like, oh my God, like my heart sunk. I'm like, I could feel and hear the pain, and it reminded me, and I don't want that for him.
Yeah.
And so I kind of talked him through, hey, get in bed, your mom's with you. Brianna's with you, and we'll talk tomorrow. Just be safe and stay in bed. And he goes to bed, and I call him back the next day, and I talk to him, and I just tell him, hey, man, like, how long's this been going on? Why haven't I been told? Supposedly it's been a year, probably more, right? And he's 15 years old, so I fly back the next week. It's him and his twin sister's birthday, 16th birthday. And, I take him out to eat, and I pull him aside, and I'm just like, hey, I'm not going to let you go down that path that I went down. I love you too much. I spoke to your mother. You're going to come stay with me for a little bit. We're going to figure this out. You're going to come live with me.
And did he know your backstory of you at 13 drinking and different things?
He knew some of it to a degree, yeah. He definitely knew that I had a drinking problem because I came out here and, he was there and saw some of the things that happened while I was there. So he was aware. But this was the first, to my knowledge, of what was going on. And that was really difficult for me because I was coaching and mentoring kids the same age in Newport Beach that families were hiring me. And I wasn't there to help him. So that was hard for me.
Yeah.
And then also I'm his father. So all of that combined was very, very difficult. So like I said, I flew back and I told him, I'm going to come get you after school's over. There's only 1 month left of school in Jersey for him. So I'm going to fly back, scoop you up. We're going to come back and we'll get started. Upgrade. I got a 3-bedroom apartment. Got him a puppy. I was super excited. Going to have my son,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Dad. So that month went by. I texted him, I'll be there. I'll be there in I think 4 or 5 days. Take you to Cheesecake Factory. Still love going there. He's gonna have Reese's. I'm gonna have coconut. And
Love the cheesecake.
Yeah. So that was just one of our things. He's like, yeah, Dad, yeah. And so I was just having a regular morning the Friday before that Sunday that I leave. So 2 days before I go back. And it was, morning, I'm running around the house doing stuff, and I get a call from my daughter that he committed suicide. And that was like an atomic bomb went off in my soul. I mean, there's no words. There's no playbook, there's no words. I've never had really true trauma, I don't think, in my life. In that, I felt something just snap. And I was just numb. And I was numb, but I was sober. And I collapsed. I woke up, I was in bed, and I had friends standing over me. I mean, it was very, 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 very difficult. And, I was angry. Obviously devastated, but I was angry. I'm like, I was going to be there in 2 days. God, where were you? How does this happen? How does this happen? Why? Why weren't you in bed? What was going on? All of these things are going on in my mind, and I had to fight through that. I had to get back. I had to go to the services. I had to deal with something that is the worst nightmare for a parent.
I can't even imagine. I have a son and a daughter. Oh my gosh.
It's, like I said, no words, right?
Yeah.
And I went back and I did the best that I could. It's one of those things that when it happened, I look back at everything that happened in my life that was hard. And I could have almost died again 15 times and beat it standing on my head. Getting sober again. And I'm not saying any of those things are easy.
Yeah.
But the pain of that call, there's nothing that compares to it. Like I said, I could almost died a million times over. I've done it. Let's go. Let's keep doing it. It would have been easy compared to that phone call and that pain. And I went to the services. I went back, and it was like a dream, a fog. Like I was walking through. I can't explain it. And then I had to come back here to the apartment that I got for him and for me, and with an empty bedroom, and try to live life. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It's still not easy. You know, the fact that I was going to be there in 2 days, there's just so many things you keep replaying in your head. Like, and I know that he didn't want to die. It was a cry for help. He was angry. He was drunk. He did something stupid and he hurt himself because we had plans to do things. Or, you know what I mean? I know him. He didn't want to, but it happened. He did something very stupid. So I had to start over in a whole different way, as far as fixing myself now and trying to support my daughters, and doing all these things. And, you know, like I said, there's no playbook for it. So I'm just did the best that I could. And I couldn't go to church. I was angry at God. So now I'm pushing God away, which is not the right thing to do, but I did in the moment.
Understandably.
Anger, man, like, yeah. And that went on about for 6 months because guys would come to church with me. I'm praying for you. I'm like, dude, don't pray for me. I don't want to hear about it. I'm not going to church. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And like that went on for 6 months, and I had a friend Jason reach out to me, and he's like, "Where are you at with God?" I guess at that 6 month mark of just doing it my way and being angry, he got through to me. He's like, "Hey, why don't you come to Bible study? Let's start there." And I did, and I just couldn't be in church and singing Hallelujah and all that stuff. My anxiety was so bad, and the anger, like, you know. And I started there, and I started to forgive, and then I started talking to my pastor, and he's like, God didn't take Chase away. It wasn't God. And I realized at that moment, like, I could have went two directions. I could have went down the hate and the anger and just said, screw everything, maybe found a different profession, not working in recovery and mental health and wellness, and distance myself and shut God out. Or I could lean into God, help people, get the story out there, work with families, and maybe help as many people as I can, even if it's just one. And I started doing that. And then I realized I was like, now I have a responsibility, a bigger one than ever. I have a responsibility because I'm not going to let my son die in vain. There has to be something that comes out of this. And I also realized that there's only one chance to see my son, and that's through God, so I have to go this direction. And I surrendered again. And I started to go down that path, and I still am. And I'm building a wellness center in his name, Chase Wellness, and we're getting close to getting that going. And I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through and my family went through. If there's anything that I can do to help, I'm going to do it. Now that's my mission, you know, because these things don't have to happen. I think if there's more communication and things happen differently, this could have been resolved, and he could have been out here, and this wouldn't happen. So that's where I'm at now with it.
Wow. First of all, I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you sharing that so openly. So many families go through. I mean, it's baffling because that is the worst fear of any parent.
Yeah.
But how many people actually go through that or are about to go through it and have no idea how? With this awareness and this new mission, looking back, is there anything that you would have shared with yourself in that moment that would have maybe not even comforted, but just a part of you that would have been there for yourself, something that you could have said if someone is going through that right now?
Just to give yourself grace, because I think immediately you start blaming yourself.
Oh yeah.
I think it's immediate. Like I blame myself for that. Like I wasn't there. I had to come out here to get sober and take care of myself, and I left him behind. Like all those things play in your head, and I had to learn to forgive myself. I had to learn to forgive everybody that was there, that maybe knew what was going on and didn't tell me. You know, it was a tragedy, and starting to work out of love again, because it's hard to find love when you're that broken.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult, and you know, some days it's just getting out of bed and putting your socks on. I mean, when you're that broken, like, do whatever you got to do to keep moving forward. And one of the best things for me was like when I started to feel better was to continue to help people again. It gets you out of your head, right? It's helping other people potentially not go down that road. And that's where I'm at now with it. These projects that I'm doing, they help me helping other people. You know, I've got the coaching, which I love, and I'm building that up, and the Chase Wellness program that we're going to be doing out here, and then I'd love to implement those all over the country. You know, I have a really great program, and I have a lot of amazing people around me that want to help and do whatever they can, and that's what it's all about. It's having that community and the people and the love and that positivity and pushing that forward, and that's something that I absolutely love, the support and all these people that I have in my life that came to help. Doing that, and you know, helping out at the treatment centers. I stopped doing that for a while, but now I'm back. I'm in an amazing medical detox in Pasadena that's family run and 12 beds, and they just help people, and they scholarship all these people like how I was, and I love that because that's what saved my life. And my buddy Dell over there is amazing, and we're getting a mental health program put together, and you know, that's somewhere where I'd send my family, and it's the best place in LA, and I'm surrounding myself with those guys, and I'm going into groups and seeing these guys, and like I miss that, and getting that back into my life, and sending people there to get help and watching them get better, and just being the biggest resource that I can be, because I did take time off after Chase passed because I wasn't functioning at a high level. I mean, my cup was empty, and now I'm at a place where I'm like, I'm doing better. It's time to go. I got to get the message out there, and I'm going to be so proactive now. Like, this is the first podcast or the first time that I've spoke about what happened since he passed, and like, I'm ready now, and I want to get it out there, and I want people to hear this, and people, if they want to help, contact me.
Yeah.
Let me know what's going on and what I can do to help you, or if you want to help me get this going, let's go.
Yeah.
Because there's never enough resources, and there's such a big message. You know, I think there's a lot of preventative work that we can do. Big time. And that's huge, you know, and being that support system with everything that you do, you know. Let's catch them early. Let's get them from going down that path. And, you know, spreading that hope, you know. I love that.
And that's the goal, is to help remove the stigma, because there's so many people that are suffering in silence, not knowing that when you share your grief, you actually share the growth.
Yes. And
that's the part that, so this is where, I think it was one of the first podcasts about 2 or 3 years ago, I was on a very similar story, and just something was planted inside of me of the mom of whose son took his life. And I don't know how or why, but I started looking into and researching, and so I've been volunteering for hundreds of hours over the last couple of years at a crisis suicide center. And I was thinking it was going to be primary adults with crazy stories, and there's times where I have to walk away from it for a few days because the majority of it is kids.
It's tough.
It's crazy. I had no idea. But the theme that I keep seeing is there's so much shame, and so they keep it silent and reach out like in their bedroom when no one's around. And one of the biggest things is finding safe people to share it with. And what I see again and again is once that shame is shared, it starts to go away.
Yeah.
And that's how to get the message out, because there is always hope on the other side. And the way you shared it of, you found your purpose once you fully submitted and surrendered. And when we have meaning to our life, we see the hope. I don't think anyone ever wants to die. I think they don't see a life with hope. And when that hopelessness is there, that's what they want to escape from.
Yep.
So, man, first of all, thank you for coming on here and being so open and sharing. This is the hope that we're getting out there, to let people know there is another way, no matter how dark it seems, no matter what's going on. And the more we talk about it and shed a light on it, that helps remove some of the darkness.
For sure.
Dude, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I want to help. How can people get in touch with you if they've got questions, if they're going through something similar and just need someone to talk to?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Coach Citron. I'll have other things posted on there as far as when the website's up and all that's ready to go. But yeah, just reach out to me. Ethan Citron 11 as well on Instagram. And if anybody needs help, just reach out. We're not alone, you know, and I think a lot of people get caught up in that and they do hold it in, and that's the worst thing you can do. You know, sometimes it's just a phone call away can change somebody's life. You know, so it's important we all stick together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you and what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you as well for you. I
got
appreciate
it.
you having me.
Ditto.
Thanks, brother.
Dang, man. I didn't know that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine.
it was nuts. But, you know, I have 2 daughters.
Yeah, you
I
said
got-
twin, right?
Yeah, he had a twin, and
How's his sister doing?
I mean, the best she can.
Okay.
You know, she's in college, she's doing well. But you always wonder, like, I mean, you can't be doing great. I mean, you still wake up and you're like, dude, that really happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It really is, and I miss him so much. Yeah. You know, so it's important that I do this, like, the wellness center. I have such an amazing program. I've got people that want to support, dude. Like, it's no cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You know, I have all the
So
biggest gyms in Orange County. They all are going to let me use their facilities on off hours, and I can throw recovery events. And I've got Hollywood buddies that are public figures and rock stars, and they're like, dude, when you're ready, we'll do events and we'll post it, and we'll I want to make, one of my visions is I want to make it fun and exciting for people and not anxiety ridden.
Yeah.
And having the health and wellness side and the people that are super healthy come out and support along with the other people that might be struggling. Because at the end of the day, everybody's struggling to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Or they know somebody is. Like, nobody's running around like, dude, this is easy.
Everyone has some battle nobody has any clue about that's
Yeah.
going on.
No, so it's exciting. And for me, it's time to go. I pushed it back for a long time, Mark, where I was like, dude, I'm so anxious.
Yeah, well, you needed time to grieve.
Yeah. And that's why when you sent me the 3 options, like, I took the first one. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to push it back. It's time to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I was excited to see you. Everything's happening, dude. And my relationship with God is super strong right now. And he's helping me push through. And everything's going to be all right. You know what I mean? Everything will be all right. And even with all that loss and that trauma and brokenness, like, I'm still grateful to be alive.
Yeah, well, I don't know because I haven't gone through that. But as you were sharing that, the part that coming up is when we have a part of our soul that is completely torn and destroyed, for some reason allows us to reach people at such a deeper level.
Yeah.
So I think you have now a gift imprinted into you to go help people that may not be able to make it through.
Yeah.
So, man, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
so
for having
grateful.
me, dude. I'm really grateful.